And we're starting today's project immediately with creating first granny square that we're gonna use. We need 3. If you have a few of them lying around, that is perfectly fine. If not, this is puff flower stitch granny square. There is another tutorial on my channel, but here it is. In this video, it's going to be easier than searching for the other one. So we are first creating magic circle, chaining 3, and then inserting 12 double crochets into the magic circle.
An horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
And these are the last 2 double crochets, and now we need to tighten up the magic circle, and this is it. This is going to be the center of the flower, and we're going to connect this circle at the top, as you can see, the top stitch of the beginning chain. We're just going to insert a slip stitch, then we're going to cut the yarn, and then we will insert the other color we wish to use.
Steel Panther, so you know it's good.
So this is what we're creating. We created the 12 double crochets in the center, and now we need to create 12 puff stitch petals. And here is how I connected the yarn. There's like a bunch of other ways to do it. I honestly have no idea why I used to do it this way, but it is safe. It is a great way to prevent it from getting undone, but maybe it's not the easiest way. That being said, yeah, I wanted to actually add, actually make like a real knot. I'm happy I did not do it. So then I'm going to insert my hook and start crocheting. Here I'm gonna add a chain of 3, and then we're going to insert 4 trebles into that same chain space. So we're working with trebles. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And you have 2 trebles at the moment. We're going to count the first chain as 1 treble. So we're going to insert 4 for each petal.
It's quite pungent. Oh, yeah. It stings the nostrils in a good way.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline. 60% of the time, it works.
I have slowed down the video so it's easier to see what it is that I'm doing. And right now we have 4 trebles, and just pull the yarn up and insert your hook at the top of the first chain of 3 that we used to start this row, and then you're going to pull this yarn through, and this is your first puff stitch. So close it and then chain 1, and now we're going to work into the next chain space. So we're going to repeat this 12 times. So each of the petals is going to have 4 trebles, and it's going to be connected at the top to create the puff stitch.
Every time. That doesn't make sense.
right here is the last one. I'm not honestly sure if I was actually paying much attention, but yeah, it is what it is. This is the last puff stitch, the last petal that we need, and I'm going to show you how to close the circle, how to connect the last petal to the first one. It's going to be in the same way. You're going to chain 2, and now you're going to connect it to that first chain of 3 at the top of that first stitch that we used to start this row, and then cut off the yarn and insert the next one. And we will be working in these chain spaces in between the petals. So now it's time to insert your next color, and I chose to use lilac, and here we're going to add 3 double crochets in each space. There is no chain 1 in between, just 3 double crochets in each space around. It's going to create like a circle. Make sure not to tighten them too much, like make them a little bit on the looser side, because if you tighten them too much, it can bunch up, and it's not going to be straight. It's not going to stay flat on the surface, and it can, you know, it can make problems with the granny square eventually. So this is what we have right now, and I'm inserting next color, and this is practically the last little bit that's different. And right now I'm chaining 3, and here I'm inserting 3 double crochets. Then I will chain 2. Here are the 3 double crochets. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to insert 3 more double crochets into that same chain space. Right now what I'm doing is I'm creating the corner, and because we are creating granny square, so it is very necessary. And once I do that, I am going to just yarn over and go into the next chain space, but there I'm going to insert half double crochet. So it's not going to be double crochet, it's going to be half double crochet 3 times, and I'm going to repeat this one more time. So there's going to be 1 more chain space with 3 half double crochets, and the next chain space is going to have 2 sets of 3 double crochets with a chain of 2 in between to create the second corner. So you're going to repeat this pattern until you get a square. And here I'm finishing that row, and pretty much this is the same thing you will be repeating until you reach the desired size. You can continue like this until you have a full blanket if you wish. That was not my intention today, so I just went until I had enough space to cover my breasts and a little, to give it a little bit of extra length. So yeah, right here I'm going to insert another color. I was like considering what to use. Anywho, this is pretty straightforward. Again, in each of these spaces you're going to have half double crochet, and on the corners you're going to have double crochets, 2 sets of 3 with a chain of 2 in between. Pretty much the same all the time. as you can see, this is a pretty big, pretty large granny square, and here I am going to make like a little border, because one of the granny squares I used different type of yarn, so it turned out to be a little bit larger, and it just needs like maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. So I'm going to make like a little border with this beautiful pink color, and I'm going to go into each and every chain space that I find. But when I reach the corners, I'm going to add 2 sets of doubles. So I'm going to go into the same chain space, and I'm going to add 2 additional stitch, and especially at the corner, like that corner has to have additional space. This this can be done in different way, I'm sure. Maybe just because the thing is, this corner has only 2 of those chains that I added. So I could not just pick one and say, okay, here I'm going to add 3 of them. So I added in total 4. In each of those spaces I added 2 single crochets, if that makes any sense. So practically I'm going to be doing the same thing for each and every corner. And once I have 3 granny squares, if you wish, you can add more. You can have just, you know, fewer of them. It does not have to be 3, but I think the 3 is such a great number for this top. And now I created a slip stitch, and now I'm going to connect these granny squares. I have like a video in which I talk about how to connect them and explain it much better than right here, but I think you can see what I'm doing. I'm practically catching each and every loop on each side, and then I'm catching the yarn, and I'm just gonna go all the way until the end. Here you can see it probably better.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
And now I reached the top, and now I'm going to continue going in circle practically to connect the other granny square. But first I'm going to make a border around this. This is not necessary. This is just something that I decided to do and turned out all right. So it's only up to you. You could completely skip this step because you will be adding more of the yarn on top and on the bottom later. But you know, each to their own. I figured this was going to be a better option for me. Just make sure that when you reach the corner right here in that middle, right in the middle, right where the corner is, you're going to insert 3 half double crochets, and this is going to be like your turning point. It's going to give the corner, it's going to make the corner nice and sharp.
Yep, it's made with bits of real panther, so you know it's good. It's quite pungent. Oh, yeah.
And here they are connected, and now I'm just going to go with a half double crochet all around all of these 3 granny squares, and I'm going to do a few rows until I reach the desired width of it. It totally depends on what you wish and how you want it to look, and yeah, you can just do top ones and then the bottom 3 rows, or you can just do what I did. That's pretty much up to you. So I went all in circle like this, and then I did it with the other color.
Yeah. Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline. 60% of the time, it works. Every time. That doesn't make sense.
Right now I'm going to show you how I made straps. So first I made a chain of 66. This works for me. It could have been a little bit longer, but it worked for me. It's okay. So 66 chains, and then 1 more for turning chain. And then once you have your chain of 66, you're going to go back and you're going to go into those back loops. And you're going to start creating your half double crochets. Or no, I did actually, no, these are not half double, these are just single crochets all around. So if you decide to go half double, that would be also cool. So in the back loops only. And once that row is done, insert another color and continue working in the same way. So pretty much it's no-brainer. This is the easiest possible type of strap, and you will be done in no time. And here you can see that I connected the strap. I think I could have put it a little bit more to the side, but at this point I could not really decide if it was going to be okay. So make sure to try it on before you connect them. However, it's very easy to place them in a different, to change the placement. And right now I'm connecting them with slip stitches. Nothing fancy, nothing too crazy. It's all about just slip stitches to connect them. You can use thread and needle. You don't need to use yarn. Make it easy for you. Whichever works is good. And now we need to create the back loops where we're going to insert our, what is it called? Like that little thing that we're going to use to tie it up. You can use satin ribbon, or you can create your own with yarn, like a little cable. I cannot remember what they're called. So here I'm just inserting slip stitches. Make sure these are not too tight, but don't make them too loose either. These need to be somewhere in between, because you want it to give sturdiness to your garment, but you need to be able to get into, well, in between these loops. Why? So right now I'm going to chain 2 or 3. Usually I chain 3, and then you need to go under and then slip stitch. So you go under that loop and then you're going to slip stitch. And you're going to practically be repeating the same pattern until you finish, until you have enough loops and you're done. That's it. Your top is done and is ready to wear. For the strap, either use a ribbon, satin ribbon, or you can create your own. Make sure that it's at least chain of 200 stitches long and you'll be happy. I'm really happy how this turned out. The colors are just gorgeous. And if you like this little tutorial, please comment, like, subscribe, and share. I usually post every week unless something happens. But thank you for watching and bye. See you next time.